Right, hello again YouTube, and I'm back with this radio because it just will not leave me alone. The extra capacitors seem to have helped, but it still skips and jumps music and goes into that card reading error. So I've had an idea. I was going to bypass all this power circuitry. So to do that, I've got to check whether it's common ground or common negative or common positive. So if I go on the cap where this IC is, and on the negative side, and go to the power supply, you can hear it buzzes out. So that is a common feed from the power supply to the negative side of that IC. Go to the positive side, and you get it very fine. That's just caps discharging and all that jazz. So that is a high resistance, which means that's where all the power filtering side of the circuitry is. So the plan is I should be able to cut this diode here, which is feeding the power in, put in an external power supply, something like this, and then take the voltage from here, regulate it down to the 12 volts this needs, or I think 7 volts I'll fit it to, because this is what this is set to, 7 volts, even though the datasheet for this IC says it should be 12, if that makes sense. And then we just stick this somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in here, or wherever we can make it fit really. We could even glue it down here somewhere. And that will power this circuitry instead of the regulators on the board here, which I think will give us the problem. So first of all, I've got to do is check that these regulators are working, and then we shall go from there. Simple. So I've just set this DC-DC converter to 7 volts. I've had 12 volts in the input, got 7 volts in the output, just the pot to get 7 volts in the output. I shall now solder this end, the input end, across the supply here, which is the 12 volt supply from the power supply. The output end, I'm going to solder to the negative side of the caps. I'm going to take this diode out, which is a part of the DC boost converter on board the card, or buck converter should I say, and just basically replace the voltage regulation on the card with this, and hopefully then we can get a nice stable supply and get this working again. So this is what I've done. I have taken a DC-DC converter, it's wired up to the input supply here, and out comes the 7 volts, which is now tapped across the main cap. The diode that was feeding this is now being cut, so all supply will be coming from the DC-DC converter for driving the CD sledge. So we'll power it up and we'll see if it works. I really hope so this time. Right, attempt number 2. So the DC-DC converter didn't work. The voltage on the converter just dropped down to 3 volts when it was turned on. The input voltage is 7 volts here anyway, so I think the drop is just too much for the converter to take. So all I've really done is just take the input from here, 7 volts, straight across to the CD sledge. Now, because this has chances of going spectacularly wrong, we shall turn this on live on camera. So power's coming on now. There is no explosion. This is good. We shall measure some voltages and we shall see what is going on. So this is the sledge power here. 7.6 volts. That is perfect. And if we hoik this up slowly and carefully, because it is live, we shall see if we get a CD. Not looking great. Currently it just says CD and I can't hear the drive spin. It's rather irritating. Wonder why that could be. So the actual motor for the turns the CD is no longer running. Be going on here then. Just wonder if I need to move that link across to that side. I might just try that. If it appears that I'm just making things up as I go along, well, I kind of am. It's got to that stage now where this thing just doesn't work. I'm just sort of giving up with it really. I'll just... You get like this where you just end up looking at things and you have no idea. It should work, but it doesn't. There's something that you're missing and you just can't work it out. And that's okay. Things happen. It's just an excuse to buy a new one, isn't it? But we we'll give this a try. I think this will probably be the last try if this doesn't work. I'm just going to have to say, no can do. I don't know why this should make a difference, because all I'm really doing is just changing the input and it's on it. Right, so that's now across the diode which I cut. Take the solder off before I blow anything up. Again, power it up live on camera. Ready? No explosions, which is good. Turn it as a CD. And again, I can't hear the motor driving, so something is not driving the motor for the CD now. Interesting. I wonder what happens if we reconnect that diode. Sure, it can't just be that diode, can it? Let's give that a try. Look, I'm doing it all in one take. You'll be impressed with me now, aren't you? So what I'm going to do now is basically remove the wire that I've just fitted, because it appears to be pointless. Take that off. Take that off. Make sure that doesn't short out anywhere. Squeeze the diode that I've cut back together again. There's a blob of solder on it to hold it together. Don't judge the soldering. Soldering is terrible. But it's got to that point already now where you think, ah, sod it. That's kind of joined. It's looking a mess already, isn't it? Right, power. Power. And do we get any music playing? Wait a minute, is that meant to be plugged in anywhere? Where's that go? Ooh. Where's that come from? Oh no, that's nothing important, that's just the audio jacks at the back. That won't make a difference. CD. Right, it's reading now. So there's something with that diode. That clearly is powering something in there. Oh, it's just painful, isn't it? If I play this, do I get... Let's give it a play. Let's turn the volume down. Right, volume's on 1. Measure the voltage differences across things. See what we're playing with here. And it stopped. Brilliant. Oh, it's turned off completely this time. Play. Right, voltages. Across here. Does make me wonder what happens if you just touch them. Oh, sod it, let's just go for it. Let's try that. Right, so I'm going to solder power straight across that resistor like we had before. This time keeping that diode intact. Theory being, it's going to give it, you need to power up what is behind that diode. It needs the current flow. I am not sure. I am not sure what's going on here. But look, I've now got wire bits in my thing. So that can go this side. That side. So I've now got a direct feed from the input to the CD sledge. Everything else in the middle is still powered, which is a bit counterintuitive, but go. No smoke, no fire. CD. And it does not scan. It's like it needs the voltage drop. cross that diode to make it work, but once it's done, it's fine. Can you fix a relay? I don't know. I don't know. How very odd. Thought I had my name then. Play. Anyway, who uses CDs nowadays anyway? Doesn't everyone just ask Alexa or Google to do it? Okay. This is the odd thing. Because I bet if I just disconnect one of them wires, it will start to play. Let's try it. Yes, I know it's still alive, but kind of intrigued. Do that. Push the play button. Doesn't. Ah, it's the positive wire. Would be, wouldn't it? Because the ground is the ground. Positive is positive. It's almost like I need a switch in the positive line. Ooh. Small explosion. Small explosion. Ignore me, I'm just causing things to short out because it's still alive. Do that. Things should start. Right, so if you remove the positive wire, it plays, then you reconnect it again and it shouldn't stop, but you need it disconnected for it to start. How odd. Anyway, I've rambled too much now, I need to think. So, let me explain the horrors. I've got a wire link here, which is taking the direct feed from the power supply in through into this cap, but in line with that I've now got a switch on top. So when this is done, there'll be a switch which you leave off when you start the CD so it can then read the contents, and as the CD is playing you turn it on and that makes it more reliable, gives you a more stable feeding voltage. It is a bodge, but it works, and I can't bother to play this anymore, but it works. Right, thank you very much for that, and I'll put it together and then I'll give it back because I'm fed up with it. Right, see you later.